Hi guys, this is EBPMAN with Tablets for Me, and today we're going to do an unboxing of the Samsung Galaxy Gear 2. So inside the box, it's going to be a quick unboxing, there's not a lot to it. You have your Gear 2 watch, and we'll look at this in further detail a little bit later. You have a little charging clip, very similar to what you have with the Samsung Gear Fit. Okay, similar style, so that's changed. You have a charging brick, okay, and it uses a micro USB charging cable for that. And it looks like we have a warranty guide and a usage guide, so that's there. And there is nothing else in the box. Yep, nothing else. So that's a simple unboxing. Let's go ahead and start it up. Before starting up the gear, let's talk a little bit about the actual gear itself. And a lot has changed since the previous version. It is substantially thinner than the previous version, as you can see right here, and it does have removable armbands. So the bracelets themselves can remove, and you can see right here that there's this little slot that you move in order to remove the armbands, and it has one on each side, which is pretty good because most watches, if you think about changing the armbands, you kind of have to try to poke something here on the sides to get it to open, and in this case you have that little removable slot right there that you can just move up or down to actually lock in the new armband. The other thing that's different about the Gear 2 is that the charging mechanism is different. You can see where your charging piece is, and then you also have a heart rate monitor. The Gear 2 is supposed to have an improved battery life, and one of the things that you will see a lot on YouTube is the water resistance in the Galaxy S5 being IP7 certified is also applicable to the Gear 2. So this can get wet. It's not for diving by any means, but it definitely will be able to survive rain or even being in water for a short period of time. I believe it's up to 1 meter. This happens to be the charcoal black model, and you'll notice that it has kind of a texture to the band right here. It is using what I would consider a high-end clasp. I like these clasps because you really are not having to poke this part of the clasp into any of these holes on the armband, but it uses this closing mechanism, as you see here, to close and tighten. What that does is it extends the life of the band because you don't have something poking in and poking out, which causes this to crack and break if you've had armbands of that type before. It is using a different operating system, so you hear about Google all the time, Google Android. The previous version was Android. This is using something that's called Tizen, which is an Android or a Samsung specific operating system, and we'll have to see it, what that means to the support and longevity of the Gear 2, but that has made is different, and supposedly it's supposed to make the battery more efficient, and it's what Samsung is building off of for the Gear 2, I would say, infrastructure or the ecosystem of the Gear 2. It does have a 2.0 megapixel front-facing camera, but you'll notice that there's something here on the side, and this is an IR blaster, so you can use this also to change the channel of your TV, or if you're in a bar and you want to change the channel, you can definitely punk somebody by doing that. It has 512 meg of RAM for processing and 4 gigabytes internal memory for storage. The screen is a 320 by 320 pixel resolution, 320 by 320 pixel resolution, and it has it's a 1.63 inch screen. Again, not huge by any way, but it's definitely a decent size for a smartwatch. It's around 2.4 ounces, so it doesn't really weigh that much, but again, it's a pretty good looking watch. The camera is capable of recording 720p, and it has autofocusing capabilities. And like I said, they say that the battery has improved in this version. We'll have to see. They're saying up to 6 days on low usage, but I really don't know yet. It has Bluetooth 4.0, and it can serve as a music player all by itself. So you can load music on this and actually listen to music off of the watch and not off of your phone, which is very similar to what a lot of people were doing with the iPods, the iPod Nanos, where they were putting it like in a bracelet case and then using that as a music player. But this is a wireless player. So that's pretty neat, and it supports, you know, the MP3, MP4, AAC, you know, those standard formats that you would have. It also has an accelerometer in there and a gyroscope, so it does keep track of your steps and your activity. So let's go ahead and start up the actual the actual smartwatch. And one of the things I wanted to highlight also is that the home button that used to be here on the side has been moved to the front, and you'll notice that there is nothing on either side to press. So all you would do to start it up is you'd press and hold the center button that you have right there until you see the welcome logo. So what you're going to see is the startup, and we'll just go through the process of seeing what happens as we start up the watch. So here you see this is the logo that you see with the Samsung now. Samsung, I would say the S5. So now what you can do is you can download the Gear Manager on your phone before you start, and it has like a little video that shows you how to do that. So I'm going to go to my S5 and I'm going to download that before we keep on going. So as you can see here, I am downloading the Gear Manager. It should come down pretty quick. It's a almost a 40 meg file. So that's going to download to the S5, and we'll go ahead and connect it to the phone once that's done. While the software is downloading, I'm going to show you how do you adjust the band. So simply all you do is you pop this out like this, right? And once you pop it out, you can then move this forward or back. So there's no clip here. The main clip is there. So what you do is you just adjust it upwards if you need it to be smaller, or you adjust it downward if you want it to be bigger. And you notice that that's where that pin or the clasp for the band goes in. Once you've done that, just put it over your wrist like this, and you tighten it. If this is a little too loose, notice that it's already trying to connect to my phone. So, and the phone is asking me if I want to go ahead and allow that. I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to say OK. And it's now connecting to the gear. The vibration is pretty decent, and I thought it was going to be a little bit lighter. I've seen some complaints that it didn't vibrate strong enough, but I'm not complaining. So while that continues to connect or sync, let's go back to the fitting. So one of the things that you'll want to do is you'll want the band to be a little bit tighter than it normally would be, because with that gap that you see there, you're really not going to be able to get an accurate heart rate reading. So what I'll do is I'll move it up a little bit, just like I showed you. Just move it up to the appropriate slot for you. Make sure that it peeks through that little one of the little notches. I'll go ahead and make sure we line that. And what I'm now going to do is, let's flip this around and put it on. Now that's a better fit. See that it's not too tight. You can still see somewhat of a gap, but it rests nicely on my wrist. So now I'm going to go over here, and it's again waiting for a confirmation. And here I have to go through all the yes, I agree, and if I want to participate in any kind of data disclosure with the device, I'll say yes. And now it's going to go ahead and tell me that it's the connection for the Bluetooth is there, and now I'm starting to get some alerts. So I'm going to go ahead and close that, and you'll notice it says that the Gear 2 is connected. So some of you may ask, well, what happens if you have the Gear 2 and then you have the Gear Fit? Can they exist on the phone at the same time? Well, right now you can clearly see that I have the Gear Manager functional, but I also have the Gear Fit. They're both connected to the same phone. So we'll see what happens when it comes to battery life and how the two devices operate. I don't really think there's a need if you have one to have the other, but we'll test that out just to see. You'll notice that as I move my wrist, if I put it into the I want to look at the time, it automatically turns on. So if I leave it just like this and I just turn it off, but I bring it up, it's going to automatically turn on. And what you could do at this point is personalize the screen. We'll do a video on personalization a little bit later, but that was the unboxing, the initial setup, and the connection to your Samsung Galaxy class phone. If you have any comments or questions, just leave them on the YouTube channel. And as always, don't forget to subscribe and to like this video.